One of the things that's been talked about a lot lately has been systemic racism, and in a broader sense, systemic oppression. So when these academic words get thrown out at the public, things like white privilege, things like um, intersectionality, a lot of things tend to get lost because things, it seems, that were once more academic terms, when moved into the common lexicon, they morph and they change meaning. Systemic racism hasn't quite done that yet, but I want to talk about it specifically. I want to talk about kind of what it means as far as the broader context of systemic oppression, and also not yet what we can do about it, but where it starts and how it grows. So maybe I will edit this into a broader PowerPoint so that it looks more cool and professional. But for right now, you will deal with my lovely poster. I know it's stick figures, but go with me here. So let's start. First, you have this, okay? Internal oppression. What does that mean? That means that's just you. You in your room, and you and all the things you've internalized negative about yourself. So, for instance, if you're a girl and you've been taught that uh, girls are not smart, girls can't do math, girls can't do A, B, C, and D. If you internalize that, you in your head say, I am dumb. I can't do anything. I can't do math. I am worthless. Same thing goes if you have internalized racist things about yourself. Because I'm black, I can't be successful. Because I'm black, I have no future. It gets in your head, affects your psyche, and affects those greater outcomes. That's how you oppress yourself inside your head. It gets in you. Step two. Okay? You have group oppression. See that? And you and the people in your group. So how does that work, you ask? Glad you asked. So when it comes to group oppression, it's intergroup oppression. So it's within your own group, within the other people that you identify with. So that happens when not only you, but they, the other people in your group, have internalized oppressive thoughts. So that when you step outside of that, they pull you back. They tell you that's not how women work. That's not how even men work. That's not how black people do things. And you get pulled back. This also affects when there are differences within a group, such as when it comes to black people and people of color, we are a variety of shades. So you get into colorism, where the closer someone is to a lighter tone, the more benefits, the more acceptance that they have in a greater society. And then the darker you are, then the more negative connotations are associated with you. So you end up with this internal clash. And so you have sometimes dark-skinned people hating on light-skinned people. You have light-skinned people hating on dark-skinned people, and all of it is a system of all of it is a symptom of a greater oppression of all of them. It's just how does it affect those groups individually? But you have these two groups within one larger group, and that's that intergroup oppression, which is a symptom of something much larger. So then you have intergroup oppression. So I have my group over here, my red stick figures over here, with my blue stick figures over here. These are two separate groups. And so what happens? Well, what happens is these two separate groups who have been defined by a very arbitrary idea clash. Often, one group is more privileged than the other. And because one group is more privileged than the other, and they think I am the best, they continually and individually hurt people who identify as the other group. So you have those individual confrontations. Now here's the funny thing. Many people will focus on the individuals. That one person has a prejudiced thought, a prejudiced action, and discriminates. That one person does blank. That one person does blank. It's very individualized, as opposed to understanding that no, it is a part of an entire group. Why? Because even the separate groups are all inundated with the same information. The information that one group is better than the other. Everyone is eating the same food. Everyone is smelling the same air. Everyone is in the same sauce. The sauce itself just benefits one group over the other. And so when these two groups clash, that's when you have that intergroup oppression. One group against the other. Okay? Follow me here? Now we get bigger. All of this, and if we spread out, we come down here to the systemic and institutional oppression that includes things like the court, schools, media, and the government. And all of it encompasses the groups we saw previously. The court, the government, schools, media. All of it creates a system of oppression. Why? Well, let's take the supposed criminality of Black people, for instance. Well, if your school teaches you that you're good for nothing, your school doesn't teach you about your Black heroes, your school doesn't teach you about your Black intellectuals, your school does not educate you that people who are of your complexion are worth anything, then that gets into your head. 1 point. Then let's say you go home and you watch the news. You watch the news and all you see is Black people rob, Black people kill, Black people this, Black people that, all in negative lights. And then when you turn on your entertainment, still all the Black people are criminals and murderers. Then you have your government. In your government, which not only has limited representation of people of color, but your government also continues to pass laws and local laws which discriminate against your group. For instance, when it comes to redlining, when it comes to laws around policing, Black people didn't do that. It was done to them. So, you have a school that tells you you're nothing. You have a media that tells you that you're nothing. You have the government which puts policies in place that makes you feel like nothing. And then, if someone shows up in your family who you know, who may have done something wrong and goes to court, but for a relatively minor crime and the book is thrown at them, then someone you know is nothing. And all that gets into your head. And all that lets you believe that your Black skin is worthless. And how do you react to that? How do you react to that within the group? How do you react to that when you encounter white people? All of that information. And if you have nothing to counter it, then you're lost. And it's all a part of a system that you were trapped in from birth, that you had no control over. Systemic oppression. And if we move into something specific, like police brutality, well, let's take those 4 things again. School, media, government, court. In school, we are taught that the cops are our friends and our buddies and that they are always right. Media also reiterates that, but tells us that, sometimes they have to bust a few heads to get things right. The government continually has laws that protects the violence that police pursue because we are sure that they are always right. And then the courts automatically assume that they have some superior morality, which makes them almost infallible. Which then makes it impossible for when this institution does something wrong and they hurt you and they violate their own oaths, that there's almost nothing you can do about it. because the powers that be have determined that the police's job is to protect them from you. You, black person, who they continually remind you are nothing. Layers upon layers upon layers upon layers. And you have to understand it all. I haven't even talked about history. I hope this clarifies some of your understanding of systemic oppression and systemic racism. And I will be back with another video soon.